Hello and welcome in. This is Balanced Existence, which is a community of like-minded but also open-minded individuals who resonate with my messages and are committed to bettering themselves in all facets of life, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, or physically. I am just kind of getting started off on this channel, and so my number one thing, like I said in my previous video, which if you'd like to listen, you can check it out. It's kind of like my welcome video as I've kind of revamped how I'm doing these videos, and I kind of just explain a little more of the journey thus far. But what I really want to emphasize is that the comments are something I'm looking forward to the most about this channel. I know I should be asking or encouraging for like subscribers and likes and views and all of that, but I'm actually just really excited about the comments because I have this vision of this channel being just such a full of light and positivity type of community where we can encourage each other and talk to each other in the comments. So if anything resonates or if you have any feedback or thoughts, I would just love to hear it. But I created this channel, like I said, because I want to pull together people who are kind of in the same wavelength, but also have a very open mind about learning about the world and bettering themselves. And I have a bunch of different series I'm planning on doing. I'm going to do some tarot and channel readings, as well as a series that I'm really excited about, which is going to be called Confessions of My Triggers, which I'm using the word confessions ironically because what that series is basically going to be about is how triggers are such a beautiful gift and how I love getting triggered because it's an opportunity for me to do light work, shadow work, and just bring those triggers to the surface and learn more about myself and just be able to go deep and, understand how they come to be and why they're there. And I just think that process is so beautiful. So that's a series I'm really excited about. And even if you don't resonate or even if the trigger itself isn't relatable to you, I really think that the concept of being able to talk openly about our triggers will be something that we can all connect on and will be a really significant part of just this journey of bettering ourselves. And I really do feel like the more we know ourselves, the more naturally we magnetize those who are aligned and a match to our energy. And one thing I wanted to talk about as I kind of continue from the last video where I talked about kind of the creative blocks and challenges that I was facing. Like I had said before, I want to use this channel as an outlet where I can kind of practice being in that creative flow, because for me personally, speaking is a really valuable way that I can clear out my energy and really get focused and really get into that creative state. I have been working a lot on strengthening my throat chakra, and for me, talking is like a way of journaling. A lot of the times, I'll actually get a little bit closed in my throat and see like that. And so this is a way for me to kind of work through any of that fear. And the reason I'm kind of my throat almost gets sore or closed from talking is because, like I was talking about in the previous video, I touched on it a little bit, but I want to expand on it more here, which is this kind of this chaotic feeling I felt of having all of these things I wanted to say and all of these messages, but then when I press record, I felt really blocked, or I would get sidetracked or forget the message or something like that. And I also was recognizing that I was feeling this fear of being heard and being judged, and kind of this underlying fear that I think we mostly all have, whether you're trying to do a YouTube channel or even if you're not even, a throat chakra centered creator or like creative person, like maybe you're not singing or songwriting or doing YouTube but maybe even if you're like painting or even just like generally starting a business, I think that this can definitely be transferable guidance. But there's this underlying fear of feeling like you don't have value to add, or feeling like, feeling like what you have to say is not worth taking up space. Like there are other channels that have more views and more subscribers, and they are automatically like more valuable than you, or like the things they're saying on those channels by nature of having more subscribers have more value than the things that I would say on my channel, for example. And I really want to dissect this because I think that this is like bringing light to this subconscious limiting belief. And I want to dissect it by basically realizing that this source energy, whatever you may call it, if you're spiritual of any kind, but I think we can all agree that we're made up of some kind of energy, and that's the energy of the creator, right? Whether you call it God, the universe, divine source energy. I really resonate with source energy. I think about it a lot. I think about that being basically the collection of energy that consciousness is made of. And I believe that like we're all made of that same energy at the core, right? And so my words that I speak when I create content or when I create videos, when I speak, versus when another channel that may have 1 million subscribers creates content, they actually are made of the same thing, right? And the idea here is that like while we live in a world of duality and in a society where, more likes or like more subscribers means more money or like more power and influence, which equals like better success, which equals better survival, however you want to look at it. Like we do live in this world of duality where like more is better, or whatever you may define to be success. But for me, like I really want to be able to practice my creative flow. Like that's the most valuable thing I can get out of this channel, and secondarily creating a community where people can resonate and comment and we can all connect, right? And I basically have to make that the secondary goal, because I have to be, if I made that the first goal, then I would almost be doing the channel for others, right? But like the goal of the channel is for me to have a creative outlet first and foremost, even though they're both very important. But I hope that makes sense. But like, monetization is lower on that list, right? Like the main goal here is for me to be able to practice being in that creative flow state. And so being in that creative flow state, like the energy that is at work, or the energy that is at play, I should say, when we are in that creative flow is the same energy that all of these channels are made of, right? Of course, all channels have different intentions and things, and different things that are driving them, but at the core, creative energy is made of that same source energy, right? That's kind of my perspective. So like I just wanted to touch on like the fact that this like fear is serving as a block, because it basically is this like foggy veil preventing you from seeing your value or preventing you from connecting with your highest self or connecting with the divine energy that we are all made of, right? If you have a veil between and you can't see, then you think that you're separate from it. But the truth of the matter is, you are not. Like, you are made of that creative energy, and you can tap into it at any time, and you can get skilled at tapping into it the more you practice, right? So if you're creative or you're forming a business or you want to do more creative work and you're feeling kind of stuck, then I think, like I talked about this in the last video too, which is like this concept of, discerning when you need to just like keep going and keep practicing, and when you need to take a pause to like, recalibrate or reevaluate your path, right? I think the creative processes can come in can be one of ebbs and flows. And so if you're interested in like hearing what I have to say about like the discernment and what I kind of learned about that, you can definitely check out the previous video. But yeah, so let me know if there's like something that you have been overcoming with in terms of like fear of being seen, fear of being heard. And like, to be honest on that topic, like I haven't told anybody in my physical life that I created this channel, because honestly, like for me and my journey, like being on YouTube, like the channels that I resonated with and got a lot of support from, whether it was like tarot readings or channeled guidance or self-help, like even like influencers, like whatever it may be, when I resonated with the channel, and sometimes it was just for a little bit and then I outgrew it, and sometimes there's been channels that I've been still following, just whatever feels good, I basically just go with it. Whatever resonates, I take what what there is for me to receive from it. I take it with like an open heart, open mind. And yeah, like I was feeling this kind of like embarrassment of like, oh, I follow this influencer on YouTube, or oh, I follow this coach, or oh, I follow this like spiritual like tarot reader on YouTube. Like I felt embarrassed about that. I felt embarrassed about people in my physical life knowing about that, right? When I was on the channel watching the videos, I didn't feel embarrassed. I feel like I can comment. I feel like it was like a community that I really resonated with. And I felt like, look at all these people watching this video, and we're all look at all these subscribers subscribe to this channel, and we're all connected in having that shared goal or shared intention. And I just don't feel like that, like the people in my physical life were in that group, which is fine. I mean, you don't have to have like everything in common with people in your physical life, but this was one area when it came to spirituality that I didn't have a lot of people, and even self-help, spirituality, self-help, all of that. I didn't have a lot of people where I could be like, I honestly didn't have anybody where I could be like, let's follow this YouTuber together, like let's watch their videos together, because the more defined you go into the messages and the more personal you're going, of course, the harder it will be to find people in your physical life who relate. And so anyway, a lot of my YouTube journey was very individual in the physical like realm, if I can say. But on the channel itself, it was like a really safe, like beautiful virtual sense of community for me. So by that same nature, when I started this channel, and still to this day, like I don't want to tell anyone in my physical life about it, because I just feel like they won't really resonate, right? And there's no need. It's kind of like when people say like, oh, don't tell people about your plans or your goals or your dreams. I think that in itself requires some discernment, because I don't think that there's anything wrong with telling people that you love and trust your dreams. But I think that saying and that mindset comes around because it's for people who, it's those very common instances where they don't feel like people around them will really understand. And so I think that that's like another level and layer of discernment that's really important. And let me know, like, if you have felt like almost like ashamed or embarrassed of like being in the spiritual community. Like, this is definitely going to be one of the episodes I talk about on my Confessions of My Triggers series, because I just feel like it took me time, because the majority of my spiritual like community was virtual. It has really taken me time to like reflect and embody that like around my physical community, if that makes sense. So I think it all comes down to just kind of knowing that, like, having that embodied confidence in your energy and what you have to say, so that you know that when you put your energy out there, like in, whether it's through your creative work or YouTube, like I'm doing right here, that, you know, if people don't like it or don't resonate, then that's just simply not a match. But if I can stay anchored in that confidence, which I really do feel I'm at that place now, hence starting the channel, you know, I don't need to, I can put it out there for people to receive, but then as for my physical world, I'm not going to kind of waste or drain that energy by trying to get people in my physical world to understand, you know, the meaningfulness and the purpose of this YouTube channel. So that's where I'm at currently on my journey. And if anyone has any like thoughts, if that resonates, like, please let me know. I would love to like talk more about this if it's something that resonates. And I think I also wanted to make a note about like empathetic people or empaths or sensitive people. And I think it's so important that if you have like this, I talked about in my previous video, this like incubation period where when you're kind of like planning your creative project and you're thinking about what you want to do, and you're really allowing that, you know, source energy to come to you, you're allowing that creative flow from source energy to come to you. I think like, especially if you're a super empathetic person, and you're kind of like a sponge to your external environment, then like it can be really easy to be distracted or sidetracked or like taken off course from somebody else's opinion, even if it's somebody that you really love and trust. Like, I have found that even people I feel totally safe around, like, I had to really discern when I was ready to hear their opinion, just because once they say their opinion, it will like stick in my brain, even if it's a positive opinion, which could be great. But sometimes I don't even want that. Like, sometimes I really just need to have my incubation period, and I need to do the process and go through the steps that I need to go through. I need to go through those stages without positive, without even positive, and definitely not negative, you know, feedback, because it's something that I just need to do on my own as part of my like journey, right? It's kind of like the metaphor of like when you like help a caterpillar, or like when you help a butterfly like get out of its cocoon too soon, it like will die, like it won't become the butterfly. It's kind of like that. Like, I just needed to be in that like hermit cocoon and, you know, have my little incubation period, and there was no way anyone could help me, and they certainly could hinder, you know, and so I needed to be really protective of my energy. So if you've resonated with that, let me know. I feel like, especially for creative empaths, that's something that's really important to, you know, keep in mind. And, you know, sometimes it's better to just keep silent in those, you know, scenarios until you're anchored enough and you have accumulated enough energy where, you know, like external opinions won't kind of stick to you, if that makes sense. And I really do, for me, feel like this applies even to positive external opinions. Like, it's almost like if I get a positive opinion and I'm still at the beginning, it's like that analogy where people say, like, if you tell people you're going to do something and they're like, that's great, like, I'm going to write a book, or like, I'm going to do this fitness challenge, and people go, that's so great. I don't know if it's like the dopamine or there's some hormone where you receive that kind of boost, and it almost makes you less motivated to actually do the thing because you've already just gotten all the praise from people. So I feel like that's kind of analogous also to like receiving positive feedback, and how that could actually like break up, or like, yeah, like kind of break up your momentum. And so I hope that like resonates. I know that that's like something that like is really important for me at this time in my journey. So yeah, I think I'm gonna end it here for now, but let me know in the comments what you think. I think like this concept of like keeping things to yourself, and but also like not being ashamed of your community is like a really important concept. So I will be back on soon, and thank you so much for listening. If you listen to the end, drop your favorite color heart emoji, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks, bye.